and Sam Burgess had made no fewer than 6 changes to the side. In come Roderick Ty in the centre and Aaron Lindop on the wing, who made his debut and scored a try in round 1. Josh Drinkwater last played in round 3 against Castleford, missed the last 8, and he replaces the unfortunately injured Leon Hayes. And on the bench, 3 changes. Zane Musgrove, who missed the last 4, comes back in, as does Max Wood, and Adam Holroyd, who was not initially named in Warrington's 21, and we believe, because they have now named him in their 17, they will lose an interchange, and because of that, we believe Sam Burgess is staging a protest inside the ground and not coming out of one of the rooms in here at the Halliwell Jones Stadium. That is early news. It is live sport. We're hoping that's as accurate as we can get it to you right now. Let's bring you Hull FC's side, newly appointed director of rugby, Richie Myler. He's laid out a challenge to this playing group. If you want to be part of this journey that we're about to go on, you've got the shirt and first crack. So out to impress is a 17 that shows 3 changes from that went down to Leeds 18-12 in round 9. In comes Tom Briscoe for his second debut. Jake Truman is on the bench, returning after a horror run with injuries, out since last August. And Cam Scott returns for interim head coach Simon Griggs. Well, understandably, the Warrington Wolves will go into this one as heavy favourites, despite the case I validly made for Hull FC pre-game. Jack Charles, the star young half, playing alongside Morgan Smith before Jake Truman comes onto the field, is one we will keep an eye on, as is Josh Drinkwater. But the controversy pre-game is around a loss of an interchange, and Sam, who has emerged eventually, and no doubt settle down alongside Martin Gleeson and Richie Marshall, but will not be happy with that.
Well, Sam knows better than most in conditions like this. Interchanges are important. Look, the conditions mean it could be quite attritional, quite direct, limited ball movement, so it could impact the Warrington Wolves here.
Look, I understand his frustrations. I agree. I think interchanges could be big today, and it's another reason for Hull FC to spark a little bit of hope that they can get something out of this game.
Well, if a fired-up Sam Burgess translates into a fired-up Warrington Wolves, look out Hull FC. Here we go. Jody says Warrington by 32. John says Warrington by 32. But he wants to clarify that and say it was submitted before the rain started falling.
Yeah, the Met Office have impacted my prediction. It could be tighter than that, but if you look at the Warrington team, dripping with quality. Look at Josh Dewlis, all of the young backs that they've got, but this man, George Williams, what a star.
Well, I mentioned for young Callum Walmsley, 9-year-old, who will bring out the match ball. He's in remission from cancer after spending 5 months, including all of Christmas, in Alderhay. Callum, of course, is new to watching the Warrington Wolves, and he has had his season passes and memberships for himself and his mother, Joanne, kindly paid for by his favourite player, Josh Thulis. Well done to Josh Thulis. Well done to Callum Walmsley and his family. A never-to-be-forgotten moment for him. There's Josh. Big day on for him. Let's get to our commentary team. Standing by is John Wells and Dave Woods.
Thanks, Brian. Well, Plus Change 10 weeks ago on a rainy night just like this. These two met here in round 2 of the Betfred Super League. There was an air of optimism about Warrington that night. That persists. They could go top with a win here. A pall of gloom hung over Hull that night, and that has barely shifted. One big difference, John Wells, is we do know that New Brown's not getting sent off tonight. But what are we expecting here from this?
Well, look, I mean, all the talk, understandably, has been around the visitors, Hull FC, this evening. But I think Warrington, they've got to respond to a loss. Now, they've done that twice already in 2024. And in combination, in the wins that followed, they posted 70 points. So that's not a particularly good omen for Hull FC. From Hull FC's point of view, start the game well. Do not drift in and out of this game.
Well, they've got players back, they've got players in. There's a promise of more players coming in as well for Hull. We heard that big news of John Asiata for next season. But there is a suggestion that they could be picking up 1 or 2 loanees this year as well. Houghton out of dummy half, back it comes, and kick downfield from the young prodigy Charles. It's taken safely enough, and Warrington with a chance to build in their opponent's half in this set.
Yeah, probably an average first set, though. Probably not the best idea from Jack Charles to be finding Matt Duffy. In terms of metres, he's top of the pile in Super League so far in 2024, and a lot of those, 80 of the average 200 that he makes in the game, are off kick returns.
Well, as we mentioned, Warrington could go top tonight. There is a scenario that would see a Super League table, the top 7 divided by only 2 points, potentially at the end of this weekend. Shows you just how tight the competition is at the moment. That ball's been dropped. Maybe that's an early sign of the part the conditions will play here tonight. And Hull with a much easier passage from their end of the field than they might have had otherwise.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really interested both sides of the ball. I mean, you know, an awful lot of noise has been made around Jake Truman's return. I would urge caution for Hull FC fans. Simon Griggs said he was only going to be expected to play half a game or less. I think before they worry about their attacking setup, it's the defence they really need to address. You know, I really want them to finish the set, put Warrington in a corner and really stack up, shorten up that defensive line.
Here's Walker. There was a suggestion in the build-up to the game that Truman might start the game, play the first half, but as we've seen, he's on the bench, so the likelihood an appearance at some point late in the half, or maybe early second half. Cater's taking it in, Houghton out of dummy half here. It's a carry left, and here's an opportunity for Jordan Lane, who's made a half break. And a decent end to the set here for Hull FC with a kicking opportunity. It's Smith who puts it high in the air. Duffy's up there, collects it safely. But Warrington have to start from there. And I think Jenna's got some news down on the touchline. Jenna.
Yeah, evening, Dave. Just a little bit of drama ahead of this one. Warrington hadn't named Adam Holroyd in their 21-man squad on the playing system, and he is playing tonight. Instead, they'd named or declared Connor Wrench. Now, this change has cost them an interchange tonight, so they're only going to have 7 substitutions available to them. In these conditions, I can tell you, it's wet, it's greasy out there. Sam Burgess was not happy before this game. He was protesting. He was in a room. He wasn't letting anyone in. He was refusing to come out, as you just saw on the screen before. He's now up there in the coaching box. He's come out. He's not happy. But yeah, Warrington tonight have lost an interchange.
Which is a strange one, because on all their social media feeds yesterday, Holroyd was in the 21. So yesterday they'd gone public with that. Maybe somebody had put the wrong name on the official charts. That's the only explanation here. With an opportunity to clear again is Sutcliffe, and back towards the middle of the park again. And Herman Esse, who had a strong game against Leeds last week, many suggesting that their performance against Leeds last week was the most uplifting for a long time, in defeat. Out and out of dummy half, but collected again by Duffy, who will run it back to a reasonably organised and well-set Hull line.
Yeah, 3 completed sets for Hull. There was a great line, wasn't it, from Jordan Lane just before Jenna gave us that update, which set up a good end to their second set. That third set, the ball's really skipping across the surface as well. May take a little bit of sting out of Matt Duffy's kick returns.
So Warrington again building towards that halfway line. It's going to be taken in here by Toby King, one of their new signings. They're not exactly a new signing, was he? Because he's been on loan for a couple of years away from the club, but new in terms of starting the season this year. And Williams comes left, and Duffy with a step back on the inside. Wonderful footwork, and a lovely little dab kick as well. But across comes the cover in the shape of Lewis Martin to concede the dropout.
Yeah, really good awareness from Lewis Martin as well. We pick up George Williams as he feeds Duffy. Duffy drops it on the toe for drink water, but Lewis Martin emerging left of his shot there. He's covered 50 metres from his left wing position. Good awareness from the young winger.
So they're going to be under more pressure here. Look at his stats. He's flying, isn't he?
But it's the run meters. That's the thing.
Almost literally flying.
The run meters are the real threat for him. I think he's become a more rounded player actually in the last 18 months. There's a try assist there. Sits 7th with 7. There's a passing game as well that he's developed in the last 18 months. But running is the game for Matt Duffy.
Yeah, 47th consecutive appearance as well, which suggests a robustness too, doesn't it? If he can just keep going and going. Williams is dashing into position there, but the play the ball instead comes left here, and it's taken on by Philbin, starting in the front row. We've been used over the years to him coming on with that crash bang wallop effort from the bench, but he starts tonight. And Warrington full of intent here. Curry's Park just pulled down, 5 away. Walker skips it back. Williams with the ball back to Vaughan. Vaughan tries to push. Hull absolutely heels back on the line at the moment, because Warrington are asking all the questions. Walker left, Williams again. Williams little dab kick to the in-goal area, and it's going to be parried out of play by Tom Briscoe. Second debut for him tonight, but it's a second dropout from underneath the sticks for Hull tonight.
Yeah, more patient play as well from George Williams has forced Tom Briscoe into another repeat set. This will be, if they get to the end of this set and not concede, that'll be 18 straight tackles in defence to start the game for the Black and Whites.
Tom Briscoe, by the way, becomes the 34th different player that Hull have used.
That's
and
incredible.
if Truman comes on, it'll be the 35th different player they've used this season.
That's incredible. And it shows you the travails that Hull FC have had.
More than any other club. Castleford are closest to that. I think they're on 32. But there's even more to come in Black and Whites. And here goes Walker out of dummy half. They switched off behind the rock momentarily. There was a moment there where Keita maybe lost his balance and lost his concentration. And it's another set here. The referee waves it on. This is looking very good in the early stages from Warrington's point of view. Curry's held up. This is Walker skipping it out right again. Williams, it's helped all the way to Thewlis, and the footing lets him down. Greasy pitch, difficult to step. It's back with Williams. Here's Vaughan, standing start for the Australian prop forward. Edges just an extra yard or two, finds the floor again for the second time, which slows things down, but now it comes with Drinkwater and Williams with that left foot step. Not once, not twice, but 3 times, and again a kick to the in-goal area. Here, they are torturing Hull FC at the moment with the return sets, the repeat sets. Sutcliffe this time is the rescuer.
That's so good from George Williams, such awareness. You look at him bouncing back across, he's looking for a defender who's switched off, looking for a gap, doesn't find it. Plan B, what a perfectly weighted kick, and very nearly an opening score. So good at that,
You can almost imagine him looking out of the window before the game and going, rainy night, where's the kicking boots? Because he's just the expert, isn't he? Close to the line of just putting it in, putting them under pressure time and time again. Roderick Ty, who is again another of the newer signings this year for Warrington. We've not seen him too often in Super League thus far. This is Walker. Looking left again, that was a flat ball. Philbin taking it on with all that thunderous intent that he carries. And Walker comes again and looks to that right-hand side, and Williams again, and Ty just pats it on, and it's an opportunity for Thewlis. The defenders are across there, and a little over-muscular as it happens, so a penalty here for Warrington. It's another repeat set, in effect.
Yeah, reactionary stuff from Hull FC, but they've been stretched out and they've been tested. This time it was Roderick Ty with a quick tip on ball, and Thewlis steps back inside, just gets collected, doesn't he, by Lewis Martin. It's the cover defence, reactionary stuff. But again, it'll be another set of 6 that the Black and Whites will have to try and repel.
It's attack v defence in these early stages. And at the moment, defence has just about held up, but legs will be tiring. Lungs will be feeling the pain. And Warrington just keep rolling out at them. Fitzgibbon is going to be held up, carried over the line. And just about had him under control. There's a danger there. He could have twisted around, but they had him under control. So they go back 10. That gives Hull FC a few extra seconds just to swallow some oxygen, get themselves ready for what comes next. And what comes next is the formidable form of Vaughan. And here's Walker, left or right, sorry, to Drinkwater. Now Williams, and Dufty's in the line and pops it over the top, and Thewlis sees a gap, cuts back on the inside. 3 defenders there. Have they managed to rescue that? No, they've not. Thewlis is a finisher. We know that. A dive in, opportunity taken superbly, and Warrington, with an air of inevitability, take the lead after 10 minutes.
And there was patience, and they've been rewarded for that patience. Prodding, probing, repeat sets, building pressure, the classic way in rugby league. George Williams at the centre of much of that, but again, the final pass. We talked about Matt Dufty's running game. We take a look at when this comes out. It's a lovely miss-out ball to Josh Thewlis, who once again hammers down on that right foot and just dips in between 2 cover defenders. They've had to do an awful lot of back-to-back defending, and that's a peach of a ball. I remember watching him in the St George shirt, and he really struggled with that. I think it's an area of his game that he's put a lot of, it's evident that he's put a lot of work into that side of his game. He's no longer just a running threat. That's a lovely ball. You know, Lewis Martin didn't do an awful lot wrong there. Sutcliffe goes in, the winger follows him in. The pass was just too good.
Well, is the writing on the wall here with the way things have started? Hull FC already just seem to be under the pump here in these early stages.
That's just, look, I would say it's more about the composure shown by the Warrington Wolves. You know, I mentioned before that they've been beaten twice this season, and in the subsequent games they've gone out and won and posted a combined score of 70 points. So you're going to expect something from Sam Burgess's charges, who looks on Fairly non-committal at the moment. But Thewlis gets the opportunity to add an extra 2.
Well, the rain pours, as you can see. He strikes that very well. There's plenty of height on that. Has he got the angles? Yes, he has. Yes, he has. So the perfect start. Try and a goal. Warrington leads 6 points to 0 with 11.5 played.
Yeah, lovely added to his try, which was a thing of beauty for the Warrington Wolves. Come off the back of an awful lot of territorial pressure, patience from Williams, a beautiful pass by Dufty, and a great finish from Thewlis to open the scoring. But I think this is more about Warrington than Hull FC. You know, Hull FC haven't had an awful lot of ball. They've completed sets they have. They've just been put under an awful lot of pressure by one of the best players in that Warrington team, in George Williams.
And here's King for Warrington, back in possession. Walker out of dummy half again, and Vaughan now. Just non-stop mover of the ball forward. In really good style as well, very often. They're resting a couple of their forwards today who've been in form. Warrington, minor knocks, minor niggles, but it's not stopping them dominate. And Ty now has an opportunity to create something for Thewlis, but
great
it was well covered over there, wasn't it?
Brilliant defence. You look at what Lewis Martin had to do. He had to account for Roderick Ty's run, and then when Ty passed, slid off really well. Take a look at Lewis Martin, left edge of your screen, 26. He had to wait for that ball to go, and then he gets across and makes the cover tackle. That's really smart stuff. I really like this young kid. You know, we knew he was an athlete, big, tall, rangy, new breed of player. But that defensive side of the game, that matureness that he showed there, that composure, you don't always see that so young in a career.
You nearly called him Martin Lewis.
I know, I've done it before already.
He's the money saver.
Yes, I know.
Lewis Martin is the try saver.
Yes, OK. Yeah. We'll trademark that later.
We're on the same sheet of horrific puns. Hull FC back in possession, and a pleasure for them to be here this far downfield. But 2 tackles gone, Keita put down. They're still only just nibbling their way inside their opponent's territory. This is Lingi Sao, who was very much at the heart of that disciplinary problem that Hull had in the early weeks. He was sent off and sin-binned twice in those early weeks. Like we said, that prop, that forward pack last week looked a whole lot better against Leeds, and Leeds themselves are in the lead against London, as you can see, 6-0. Early stages. It's a bit later in the game. They kicked off earlier at Huddersfield, but Salford with a 12-0 lead there.
Big contact a couple of tackles ago between 2 of the biggest men on the pitch in Herman Esse and Paul Vaughan, as FC complete another set. High steepling kick from Morgan Smith.
Good take by the young fella.
Yeah.
Aaron Lindop. We saw him on the first night of Super League, didn't we, in Catalan, when he scored a spectacular try on his debut. This is his second game. Might have had more chances, but I think he got an injury playing in the academy in March. He's got exams in a couple of weeks. Ain't that a sobering thought? He's
yeah, just turned 18 as well.
He's taking at the local Priestley College a sports coach and development course, and he's got big exams in a couple of weeks' time. Good heavens! Oh, for those days, John, eh?
Oh, good on him.
It's a bit untidy at the play. The ball. Dufty gets a little pass away. Williams was following him in anticipation, but Hull's defence remains tight. This is the last play. Kick from Drinkwater off that left foot, taken safely enough by Walker, who turns round and just gives the outside backs an opportunity to have a run here. Lewis Martin up to the 20.
Yeah, just off your pitch at the moment, you've got Matt Dufty, the Warrington fullback. He's passed on the inside to Williams, and he's really struggling with a hip injury. I think he's picked that up as he's released the ball to Williams on the inside.
Well, I think there's been a hint of that in the build-up, because named in that 21, which has obviously been a controversial thing, is Kai Taylor-Ray, the young player. And I think they were a little concerned about Dufty in the build-up to this game, and had he not been available, there's every sign that Kai Taylor-Ray would have been playing, which again is just a reflection of Sam Burgess's confidence in youth at this club. Danny Houghton is the dummy half, but they're on the last. The kick is good. Dufty's underneath it. Safe pair of hands, plenty of room in which to prosper again here. And Lindop gets a belting.
Yeah, well read by Tom Briscoe. This is where stats can be a bit misleading sometimes. Hull FC, 100% completion rate. Brilliant, you think, but they're not making much of an impression when they are in possession. You take a look at this, everything that Warrington do is over the advantage line.
Well, Well, here's a stat that does make an impression. Tom Briscoe up against Lindop. Tom Briscoe's literally old enough to be his dad. So the veteran right winger against the junior left winger. And Warrington with Walker out of dummy half. And Walker at the other end of the field will put a foot on it. The Walker of Hull, who brings it back. Has a little look, but a good chase. He ain't going too far before Drinkwater gets to him. Difficult night for Drinkwater, 8 weeks out, and he's only in here because Leon Hayes is injured. So what has he got to prove here tonight?
Everything. I think exactly that. And rumours where he was being shopped around to other Super League clubs potentially, and sooner than 2025 as well. So I think that's significant that Leon Hayes had not just come in to deputise. He'd come in and, in Sam Burgess's eyes, was going to be that half of that pairing with George Williams the rest of the year.
Hayes and Holroyd, by the way, agreeing new deals. Extensions of 3.5 years to their terms this week, those two youngsters. Hull, though, looking good at the moment in terms of getting themselves downfield. Cam Scott. But this is the last. Walker back to Charles. Charles looking to put that kick as close as he can, and Dufty knew exactly where he was, foot in the in-goal area, which gives them a tap back on the 20 and a quick advancement straight away.
Yeah, 7 tackle set, great awareness, great spatial awareness from Matt Dufty. And these sets are a little conservative. You felt play 4 there for Hull. There was an option out the back, maybe just to try and test the edges of the Warrington Wolves defence. They've chosen not to.
Lindop gets up and plays. Vaughan carries it on, twisted the tattle, just to earn himself an extra yard or two, give himself the potential maybe of an offload, but that wasn't there. And here comes Williams again, the kick, and the chase is on from Hewlett straight away. He knew that was coming. So there's a bit of pressure here, but well done by Martin, and he's stepped away from not one but 2 defenders. Can he go through the next 2? No, he can't. Squeeze to the ground, but a good clearing run.
Good return. I really like this young kid. Saw him really early in the season. Been given an opportunity by Tony Smith. Now he's taking it with both hands.
Here's Walker, Jack Walker. Little step from him, and an offload, and Danny Hound's there to prosper and take it on. Feels like stolen yards this for Hull FC.
Yeah, it could have been better though, couldn't it? There was only one person reacted off that offload. Hound was waiting for the right edge to catch up.
Hampton to Charles, who drops it back on the inside again, and Lingy Sow will just push himself hard into the defensive clutches of those two, Curry and Walker. Search from SASA and back to Sow, and Sow with a flicked pass, but doesn't really open anything up for Cam Scott, and he'll have to take the tackle, and that is the 5th. So on the last, Charles again is tasked, and he's just getting a little bit of a clobber there as well as he kicked that ball downfield. A little bit of a welcome to the big time from Fitzgibbon.
Yeah, much better kick, much better chase though, and he's forced a mistake as well. Yeah. Well, that's your reward, isn't it? That's your reward for those unconditional efforts. Briscoe and Chamberlain have followed up the kick, and there's an arm in there, but blimey, maybe he's a bit hard done to, is Matt Dufty. You always start with the premise that it's the ball carrier's responsibility to retain possession, but under a fair bit of duress there, wasn't he? Chamberlain over the top.
Yeah, he might have had right to complain there. There was a game earlier this season where he was sin-binned for having a chip at the referee, wasn't there, Matt Dufty, if memory serves? But anyway, back to the here and now. 20 minutes played, and you have to say full marks for Hull because they dug back into this.
Yeah, big early defensive stint put in, conceded 6 points, now get an opportunity of their own.
Well, here they come, attacking from the scrum, and Charles will take it on and just looks to pierce that armour of defence. Leeds doubling their lead, 12-0 now against London. Back towards the middle again, and Scott. Danny Houghton marches into dummy half. They've numbered up on that left-hand side. That's where the majority of them are. So that's where he goes. Charles again puts it back again. It's into the hands of Walker. Walker to Sutcliffe. Sutcliffe well pinned down, well met in defence by Ty, but I think Thewlis has been left on the ground looking a little groggy there, and Hull FC have detected that and initially went back that way, but couldn't get to where they wanted to be. So back it comes, and here comes Lingy Sow. And Sow with a push, and still driving. What an opportunity here for FC. Houghton again. Where's that pass going? Well, not where he wanted, that's for certain. And Hull FC lose about 20 metres with one pass. And they're back on the last. So Briscoe flings it inside, and the pass to Charles flicks his fingers, goes to ground. Frustration from that coaching box, and Warrington escape lightly from that position.
When they get into position and shape, they look good. They really tested Warrington's right edge a couple of plays ago, but what they do off the back of that, they're not able to kind of reload and fall back into any kind of recognisable shape. Balls to ground, error on the last from Charles, just a scruffy end to the set.
I think this is his 8th game, Jack Charles, since he made his debut against London Broncos, and he's undoubtedly a star of the future. At 18 years of age, should they be looking at maybe resting him? Even though the need is, we need to win games, we need a half, but for his sake, should they be resting him?
It's a really good point in terms of overexposing young kids. Look, if you're in a Saints outfit or a Wigan outfit where you can surround them with experience and you're not getting hammered every week, then there's a case there to gradually progress. I don't think they've got an option, to be honest. You know, I thought it would have been daft to have started Jake Truman from the off this evening, and if so, Charles wouldn't necessarily been the one that I would have dropped. Fulis going off. That was a head contact on a reaching tackle on Liam Sutcliffe. That was that really effective spread play from Hull.
Well, I think it's Sam Powell who's come on, so it looks like Curry's gone into the centres and Ty's gone on the wing in that little reshuffle of positions. We've been getting used to watching Ben Curry running down the middle of the park this season. But he's going wider, which is, you know, he's accustomed to that, obviously.
But I think it's a role that's really suited him as well.
Yeah. This is Dufty, and this is Curry, who, on the other side of the field, once scored a famous try against Hull at Wembley Stadium from a similar position. High kick, which is going to be taken safely enough. And for the sake of the Hull fans who are shouting at the television now, he also failed to score a famous try against Hull in that same final.
Yeah, nice and tidy at the back from Jack Walker. I felt there was a suspicion of a bit of a high shot there from Paul Vaughan, not picked up by the referee.
So hard work to do again here for the Black and Whites, who are looking for only their 2nd win of the season. It's a run which, if you trace it back to last year, only 2 wins in their last 18 outings before this tonight. Lingy Sow takes it on. Those wins, Wakefield, August last year, who were relegated last August, and London this year, who are rock bottom of the Super League. So when they win, it's not been necessarily something to write home about. They need to change that.
Yeah, and that's how the curtain sets into the hands of this man in space.
Dufty. That's almost a full break. Exciting runner. Drinkwater is just getting his players to go where he wants them to go.
The ball's really going to skip off the surface. It's been a wet day in Warrington. You know, if you can alter the trajectory of those kicks at the end of the sets and try and at least get the ball on the ground, turn Dufty round.
That's Powell, this is Walker, but that is a very clumsy play, the ball from Sam Powell, fresh onto the field and given possession quite cheaply back to Hull FC.
Yeah, just an error in regaining his feet, lost possession. There's been a couple of green shoots, I think, in Hull FC, some effort-based stuff. Ed Chamberlain in the last set, Jack Walker the previous set. Just a quick, honest play, the ball, Walker with an offload and then playing off the back of it. That's Hull FC's best shot, I think, to get into this game.
Ian the referee just checking, I think, on whether Drinkwater's okay. He was being treated in back play, but the thumbs go up. So making sure the pack is down, and Hull FC with an opportunity to build here. First carry by Liam Sutcliffe, who takes it almost to that halfway line. It's going to be a run by Martin out of dummy half, but eagerly watched and gathered in by those Warrington defenders. So where does it go now? Lingy Sow looking to batter his way through. Big body, tough body. And look at this, a few extra metres being gained here as well. He's done well to wrestle a little bit further forward, putting Hull more on the front foot by doing that. Cater angles back towards the middle. Danny Houghton's the dummy half. Sow to his left, but he comes to his right-hand side. Charles with a kick. The chase is on here. It's Lindop who's going to win it, I think. Yes, he is, and he does well to just punch it out of play. And this time it's Warrington on the back foot, having to drop out from underneath the sticks.
Yeah, nice little kick. Waiting perfect from Charles. Good kick chase from Cameron Scott. And the ball moved away, didn't it, late from Lindop. He had to be right on his game to get that. See, that first bounce really took it away from where he was running back to. He's done really well there to get that dead.
A little bit of an off-cutter that, wasn't it, from Charles? So the drop out, and all things being equal, and we just a little cautionary use of that phrase, because on a night like this, it's not a given that you will collect the ball safely, but they have, Hull FC.
Yeah, you see the care which they're taking to make sure they gain possession cleanly. That ball squirming across the floor, trapped by Lane. Good carry again by Lingy Sao.
So Danny Houghton marches in there. Looking back towards the middle again. Charles just popping it up for Walker, and quick hands attempted by Chamberlain. Briscoe has to drop back. I think Chamberlain was claiming that there was a hand there from a Warrington player, but not bought. That claim by either referee or touch judge. Charles inside for Keita. This is Houghton. Slow play the ball. Warrington organised in defence. Houghton skips it left. Comes to Brown, and then Charles again with a chip through. Sutcliffe's after it, and Duffy is across there, but the conditions mean he slides out of play, and it's another dropout underneath the sticks.
Yeah, George Williams was the exponent early on in the piece. Jack Charles has now forced 2 repeat sets. It's another lovely weighted kick, but Duffy gets across the ground, covers the ground so quickly, so efficiently. Simon Griggs will be encouraged by the last 5 or 10 minutes. A little bit more creativity coming from the boot of Charles.
Nice to see Francis Cummins alongside him as well, isn't it? One of the nice folks in rugby league. There's lots of, we always say there's lots of nice folks in rugby league, but Francis is certainly up there. Oh, a little header, which has given Hull FC possession back again. This is Lingy Sao. So Hull with a chance to build with 5 tackles to go here, and very much in decent position to build from here as well, and that will be made even better because of the penalty. Tap and go, kick to touch. What are you doing here?
Compose yourself and figure out how you're going to open up a side. Just a bit too much from Paul Vaughan. You know, Morgan Smith and Jack Charles have got to get their heads together here and figure out what they set. They run through these set plays in training. They'll go through these during captain's run. What would we do 20 metres out?
Morgan Smith has put Hull in a decent position with that kick, and now he has it, and here's a chance for Herman Esse to drive on. There's a second ball on the field, so just holds things up. Well, they play. Herman Esse, I don't think, knew that they'd stop there. But the second ball is cleared, but here we are, decent position here. There's not a lot of travelling Hull FC fans here, but those in the ground will be getting excited because this is a real chance. It's with Charles, who pops one over the top in anticipation of Briscoe running on that wing. The typical no-loop pass when you really should have had a loop before you popped it up.
Do you know what, though? Simon Griggs is shaking his head. I don't think he's shaking his head at the idea, because I think the idea was great. It's just the timing and the execution, isn't it? You could see what Charles was looking at. And he'd seen Aaron Lindop looking in, leaning in on that right leg. And he plays with no fear, though, Charles, does he? He's prepared. In many ways, that's a good sign. That sounds an odd thing to say, but he's, you know, when you get a young, inexperienced kid who's prepared to do that.
Yeah. And a real Hull kid, a real dyed-in-the-wool black and white, isn't he? His dad played for Hull KR, I know, but he grew up with the Beverley amateur team. And this is a big ambition to play for this particular side. And that just helps you develop even more, doesn't it, when it's your hometown team. But it's Warrington at the moment who are on the rampage, looking to clear their lines. They've not been inside their opponent's half much in the last few minutes. Here's an opportunity to get back there, but they're short of the halfway line. And the referee signals the last is the next. Williams puts it up in the air. It's caught safely by Walker. Walker brings it back, little spin as well, but Warrington again efficient and economic in getting up there and making the tackle count.
Yeah, double sub as well from the Warrington Wolves.
Well, they've lost it, and Hull suddenly are having to defend here because Warrington has suddenly given prime position, and 6 to go from here. Walker spins it out, Drinkwater helps it on. Max Wood on from the bench, this youngster who was with Wigan Academy, given away, and Warrington prospering on the back of that young fella. This is Williams, and now it's Duffy, and Duffy with a dummy. Defenders attracted to him, a little flick back in hope and anticipation. It's still going here, Curry. But Hull defenders reacting well. This is Ty. Ty flings it left. Williams, Walker on the inside for Zane Musgrove. Well, it's a central path they can find now, with opportunities right and left. It comes left. Drinkwater's kick. It ricochets against Hull FC legs, and it is dropped on in the end by Cam Scott, and Hull FC getting the bounce of the ball.
Yeah, great reactions from Cam Scott. Heavy contact, wasn't it, from George Williams on Lewis Martin that resulted in that, but they think they've repelled pretty much everything that the Warrington Wolves, bar that one try. I think it's been a really sterling effort in defence. This is the bit now they need to fall into a little bit more of a rhythm with their attack, because it's looked staccato at times, it's clunky at times.
Well, I don't think many would have thought it was this tight at this stage of the game before kick-off, and certainly after that opening 10 minutes when Warrington were very clearly on top. I think not many would have expected it to have stayed at 6-0 for so long, but that's credit to Hull FC. But Warrington will come back, and they'll come back with a real whirlwind here in the shape of Matt Duffy, but it blows out quickly.
Yeah, the forwards have got to understand that winning the ruck is hugely important for Hull FC, because if they don't, they end up kicking, and the kicker has to change his trajectory because there's no momentum. And then that's Duffy, and then that's play 2, and then here we go, Warrington Wolves on the halfway line, midway through the set.
8 minutes to go in this first half, still Warrington 6, Hull 0. It's a mooted atmosphere at the moment. Warrington fans not able to give it full throttle because their side are not quite giving it full throttle. Drinkwater to Williams, and now Duffy, and he offers it on again, and King is going to be slid to the ground. 1 play to go. Lindop tasked with throwing it back to Drinkwater, whose left foot puts it high in the air. Where is this going to land? On the ground. They're letting it bounce, which is always a dangerous proposition, but Hull FC managing to get possession back again.
They've got to inject some pace now into this set. Good first carry, Adline carry, lovely step as well. That's out now, you've got to play off the back of this now.
Walker looking for support, wasn't there. I notice with the light blue bonnet on the field that Franklin Pele is in the mix now as well. Waiting to get involved. He's not just yet, because the ball's moving away from him. Sutcliffe.
Yeah, he's told to surrender there. Just potential of an obstruction, so took the tackle.
Smashed in again by Brown, Jack Brown. With the last, Houghton. Here comes Morgan Smith. Smith puts it up. Duffy's travelling to get underneath it, and chasing after him is Yusuf Hayden, but he's bounced away from that superbly well. There was every chance he was going to absolutely flatten there, but he did really well.
Yeah, well, they're sticking with this, aren't they, Hull? Conservative stuff. Kick chase was good. Just the initial contact was off from Hayden, over-eager. Read the review notes, Yusuf. Duffy's got great feet.
So, building once more.
Duffy's
Musgrove.
Duffy's struggling again in back play, you know.
Yeah. He's down on his haunches. He's just back up at the moment, but he's not looking healthy at all.
Yeah, and he's not moved an awful lot from when he took that kick.
Last play. Drinkwater gets a bit of thump on that, despite the advancing Aiden. It's caught by Walker, who gets back beyond the 30 and a little bit beyond that as well. Duffy's staying on the field, but he's not moving easily at the moment. Wonder if Hull spot that, and maybe there's a chip and a chase to be had a little bit later in this tackle camp. Well, it will really leave them short, won't it? Thewlis has already gone off. If Duffy went as well, they're looking very light in the back 5. Houghton spinning it left. Here's Brown taking it on. Danny Houghton marches up there again. The rain is still coming down here, still difficult conditions with a slippery ball, but Hull FC have warmed to their task since those early stages, and Aiden with not the biggest of carries. Danny Houghton. It's a chip, or even higher than that, from Morgan Smith. It's back to the middle. It's been spilt, but backwards from Fitzgibbon, and Duffy's there to sweep things up.
Yeah, it dropped quickly out the air, didn't it? A kick arrowed back in by Morgan Smith. Well tidied up. Not on the first occasion, but on the second from the ever-reliable Dufty. He's still not moving great, you know. I think he's got a problem with a hip.
Again, you know, in normal circumstances, that's Dufty's ball, isn't it?
Yeah.
He would have claimed that. He would have made a real stand to get there first, but he's not moving well.
Oh, there's an error
the ball's
here.
Gone to ground, and Hull FC get possession. Jack Brown with a little celebration there, because that has given Hull a lift here with 4 minutes of the half remaining.
Yeah, and well, he might as well. I don't know whether Fitzgibbon had tried a potential offload here in this tackle. Yeah, it's maybe just in the act of, or thinking about offload. The ball's come loose. You said they're warming to the task, Hull FC, and he's furious with himself, isn't he, Fitzgibbon? They are warming to the task. I think the defence, they've certainly got themselves sorted out. The first contact, initial contact is good, is solid.
London have got a try. Leeds 16, London 4. That's a night when Leeds will be hoping to fill their boots, you would have thought. And they could be one of those teams within 2 points of top spot at the end of the weekend, for all that Rowan Smith's under supposed pressure. Good heavens. This is Pele now, who's playing with a bit of gusto, but I think he's put a hand in somebody's face here, has he?
Obstruction, I think, yeah.
Penalty, Warrington.
It's naive play. I mean, Pele's he's just interested in... He's been waiting for an opportunity, but you see, he just runs behind Yusuf Aydin, who takes George Williams out of play, denies George Williams the opportunity, much as he would dislike the opportunity to tackle Franklin Pele.
Yeah, Franklin Pele, who's come from the NRL, Cronulla and the Bulldogs latterly, but only 7, I think it was, NRL appearances at each of those clubs combined. So he doesn't come here with a great deal of experience.
So I've just seen Thewlis regain the field with a rather elaborate head bandage on, I think. So there's been another readjustment.
Yeah, so that's... Oh, there's a little slip from Drinkwater. Tricked his way through. Williams in support. He'll scamper away. No one's going to catch him from that distance with the try line looming. And George Williams settles local nerves and lifts the cheer with a try that extends Warrington's lead.
Dan, it came out of nothing, didn't it? Just a momentary lapse in concentration in defence on that right edge from Hull FC, and the Warrington Wolves, they were clinical, they were surgical. It's just a misread to start the play from Franklin Pele that opened up the space. Drinkwater through, Williams into the backfield, and he finishes really well. He could slide from 5 metres out here. He knew the wet surface was going to take him over. There were Hull FC defenders converging on him. It's a misread at the start of the play. It was an under-chase from Pele and an overread from Danny Houghton, and Drinkwater exploited that.
That almost looks like a man who said they've just saved themselves a real telling off at half-time.
Yeah.
Good job they scored that.
I'm no lip reader, but I think he was ready to read the riot act, wasn't he? For Williams, who'd applied so much pressure early on in the piece, now turns try scorer. Drinkwater on his return, as you said, from that 8-match absence. He provides one on a plate, and Drinkwater, there's the bandage, would have been busy there.
Well, there was a kind of a balloon of self-belief that was inflating for Hull FC, and in a moment it popped. Williams with the score. Here's Thewlis, as you can see, heavily bandaged, looking for his second successful attempt of the night. 2 out of 2, 12-0. Warrington now lead, and Jenna, news on the touchline.
Yeah, Dave, I can tell you, Josh Thewlis came off for that head injury assessment. He made it by just 30 seconds. The doctors were in a race against time, stitching his head up. Of course, they did not want to lose another interchange, given what happened ahead of this game with the mix-up with Adam Holroyd. He, of course, was in their 21-man squad on the playing system and wasn't playing tonight. They had declared Connor Branch, so they lost that interchange. Anyway, the moral of the story is Josh Thewlis passed his head injury assessment.
Just.
I tell you what, it's a good job the physio added that black tape. Otherwise, it looked like he'd gone in for a really severe haircut, not
like a terrific hairstyle. Some of us can only aspire to that kind of hairstyle, John.
I get the opposite.
Warrington, in the last few seconds, it's a happier HJ Stadium at the moment than it was a matter of moments ago, and it might get happier still here because as the hooters sound, Thewlis with a break down that right-hand side, but I think the ball's going to roll out of play, is it? No, it's going to keep in play, and Walker will just walk it out behind the net ball line, knowing that the whistle will sound to confirm the end of the first half. A little bit of flatness on occasions from Warrington. Simon Griggs will be happy with the way his team have performed, but at half-time, Warrington are leading by 12 points to nil.
Dave John, thank you very much. Yes, a dominant first half display by Warrington everywhere but on the scoreboard. Just 12 between them and the side sitting second bottom on the Betfred Super League table.
And even if that scenario doesn't happen, it still shows, John, how tight the top 6, 7, 8 clubs are at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought before a ball was kicked this season that you were going to have places decided by points difference. So I think that's playing out as it did last year. That's why it's such a great competition to watch.
So here we go, second half underway. Let's quickly establish who Truman has come on for. Just looking down there, I think it's Jack Charles who's gone off, is it? Is it Morgan Smith? Morgan Smith, yes. Confirmation, Morgan Smith is the player who's gone off. So it is Charles and Truman in harness in the halves for Hull FC in the second half. But it's Warrington in possession. And it's Ty who's making things look interesting on this right-hand side. Well met by Martin, who gets across there. Lewis Martin. Little help there from Sutcliffe as well. But Warrington in this opening set looking to travel as far as they can here. What do we expect? I mean, do we expect too much from Jake Truman to have a huge influence on the game?
Well, I think he's a quality player, and oh, that's a criminal offence. It's on the last tackle by Yusuf Aiden, who's conceded a penalty and an easy pressure release for the Warrington Wolves. It was a decent set of defence as well for FC. To answer your question, in short, no, don't expect too much. He's played 15 games of rugby league since July in 2022. However, on his day and when he gets up to speed, I think he's going to be a serious weapon for FC.
Started last year with an ACL, finished with a ruptured Achilles, which has kept him off the playing field for the first 9-10 rounds of this season as well. So it'll be a getting back to match fitness situation for a couple of weeks, you'd have thought. But Warrington, meantime, ignoring that story and trying to create another one for themselves here. Fitzgibbon put down, but only 8-9 yards away. It's a little spin in the tackle by Philbin. Wants to get up and play this as quickly as he can. Back it goes, left it goes, and on his travels goes Williams, who just spotted potential there, but just about dragged down. Back to Drinkwater and Duffy puts it over the top, and here comes Thewlis, who's finding the most difficult route he can to crash over the line. He beat 5 or 6 players back on the inside. It's his second try of the night, Josh Thewlis. Even that head injury is not keeping him out of the limelight, and Warrington start the second as they finish the first.
Yeah, and it's a devastating double blow for Hull FC. 37 minutes. Drinkwater prize is open. What has been an otherwise resolute Hull FC defence. And then within 2 minutes of the restart, Thewlis crosses for his second. And they were creaking a little, weren't they, a couple of plays ago. Duffy again with a miss-out pass. 2 players missed out this time. The scrambling defence, Thewlis just cuts across until he finds a gap in that. And it was between Houghton and Pele. And they open the scoring for the second 40. It's such a shame, isn't it, the way they finished that first set of defence. Yusuf Aiden caught laying on the 5th tackle, and as a result the Warrington Wolves got a good early look, and one look, well, it's all it took, didn't it? Thewlis, he bags his brace.
Well, there's a goal-kicking winger. Never mind the corners. I'm going to get as close to the post as I can here. And getting over the line was the prerequisite, all of that, and he has done. And now he has this kicking opportunity. 2 out of 2 so far tonight for Josh Thewlis. Young Player of the Year, as you can see, last year in 2023. Making great strides at the start of this season as well. Try number 10 for him in this campaign. Thewlis settles, strikes it well. A goal from the moment it left the boot, and it is 18 points to nil. And that hill has become a mountain for Hull FC in the second half.
Yeah, he's a sweet striker of a ball, isn't he, Thewlis? He can also finish as well. They take a look for the reverse angle. It's a lovely ball over the top from Duffy once again. And he knew the cover defence was coming. You can see that in your peripheral vision as a winger. Drop back inside, had a look for the half gap and darted through it. And as I said, that's a devastating start to the second half for Hull FC.
And Warrington with a scent of more in their nostrils here. They'll want to turn the screw. They have an incentive to turn the screw as well, because if they win by 27 clear points here tonight, they go top of the table. So there's something that's massively important at this stage of the season, but in a year that's so tight, if you can get those big wins and turn them into really big wins.
Well, if there's a position on the table you can choose, you'd always choose first, wouldn't you? No matter where you are.
Here's Powell. Walker striding in behind him at dummy half. Walker comes to this right-hand side. Dufty pushing, had his travails in that first period, but seems a little more healthy at the start of the second half. Walker to Williams. It's the other Walker who's there to collect. Little dab of the foot, but in doing that, he's just invited that Warrington line to get a little closer from when he starts his run. Trapped inside his own 10. Martin will try to carry it out. In fact, it's Tom Briscoe who tries to carry it out. Jack Walker in a dummy half again. And they're creeping the yards. Martin on that occasion. Walker at a dummy half will go. A little bit of rapidity to his legs as he tries to take his team as far downfield. Give them the best possible position to kick on the 6th. It's with Pele. Franklin Pele hits hard, but finds the ground a couple of yards after he finds those shoulders in his chest. And on the last, they're going to run it here. It's kicked on again by Chamberlain, but Dufty's there safely enough. Cam Scott's up quickly to make the tackle, but Warrington safely back in possession again.
Yeah, not a bad place to turn it over. I think the kick took a little ricochet on the way through. Now, this is where Hull FC needs to shorten up the defence. This is centres often dictate the width of the defensive line. Liam Sutcliffe will be telling everybody inside him, push across. I don't want to see anybody this side of the sticks. Not do that though. Again, it's a lazy arm. Jack Brown may well look, he may well shake his head, but it's the footwork from Thewlis that's done it. It's just crept over the top. It's not initial contact with the head, it's just come off the shoulder, up off the shoulder, but it's the footwork that's done it.
Joe with the winger, scored the tries, get the yards, and maybe get a penalty in doing that as well. Leeds well in control there, as you would have expected before the night began. 28 points to 4 against London. Still looking for that first Super League win. And what about that for a scoreline? Salford leading 18 points to 0. If you missed it earlier, Nanny MacDonald with a couple of tries there for the Red Devils. Warrington back inside Hull's half here, searching for more. They want a bit of flair, a bit of razzle-dazzle. If you remember the first game between these two, it was quite tight. And then that sending off of New Brown, and Warrington opened up after that. Well, 13 against 13 this time. Can they open up again? Drinkwater, it's a dangerous pass, and Dufty went forward. Referee and touch judge in harmony.
He was put under great pressure. It was Chamberlain who came out of the line. Had a look at that read. What a great read that is on Dufty. And that forces the error from the fullback. He's had a good couple of games, hasn't he? This is second since joining from the Lee Leopards. He was finding his opportunities limited. He's a real effort-based player, is Ed Chamberlain. He's a really intelligent read as well.
I wonder if he's still ruining that lost interchange, or whether that's drifted from his mind now. So Hull's head and feed. Taken on by Sutcliffe. Danny Houghton ranging into dummy half again. Hull FC trying to blast it away, and Brown penalised as he does so. So a penalty here for Hull FC.
Big charge from Zane Musgrove. I think Zane Musgrove was fired up, actually. He made a great carry in possession last set and got cleaned up by somebody. In the referee's opinion, that's a little high. It's just an aggressive that perhaps catches an ear on his way through. But I think he was a bit miffed about something that happened in the set before, Zane Musgrove.
So decent chance for Hull FC to build here, but what can they build? 3 scores back. All about performance from here on in, you would have thought. Thoughts of victory slipping away, but they can again, as they did against Leeds last week, put up a much more honest endeavour. Then their fans, those sprinkling of travelling fans here tonight, will be pleased with that at the very least. Here's Brown, Jack Brown. again with a good carry, still taking them forward. It's that balance of his weight. And Houghton comes out, and here's Truman who pops it back, and Walker puts it over the top, and Martin cuts back on the inside, and just for a moment it looks as though he was going to squeeze through, but just about stopped. Sutcliffe back to Truman again, and Pele comes off a flat pass, which is in fact a forward pass. So Warrington survive.
Yeah, just see the first signs that Jake Truman is beginning to involve himself in the game. Yeah, that is flat though, isn't it? Forward called by the referee. Yeah, but Truman just starting to organise his charge around the field. Probably needed 20 seconds or so to get his second wind after this this second half started.
Played in well, Hull only won 11 games last year, and Truman played in 8 of those, and that tells its own story, doesn't it, to a certain extent.
Well, they have got a dominant half on the field now. They've got a dominant, experienced half on the field.
A lot of people will be hoping he can stay there, given his troubles. He had a bit of a back problem as well, didn't he, at Castleford? So
there was a badly broken thumb, back issue, and then of course the ACL.
Yeah.
And most recently the Achilles. But in amongst that, a whole heap of talent as well.
So a run of fitness and a run of games is due to him. Here's Walker. Danny Walker at a dummy half. Place just quietens a little again now in anticipation maybe of Warrington beginning to build. Curry back down the middle after his brief spell in the centres when Thewlis was off the field. Dufty looking to dummy and trick his way through, but there's 3 Hull defenders who are not going to buy that. And Warrington on the last are going to have to kick inside their half. Williams scuttering it along the ground, making it a potential difficult bounce for Walker, but it's kind in the end. And Walker runs it back, and Warrington's chase again is honest. So Hull start from there. Skip back in the inside, and Briscoe coming searching as well.
Good carry, smart carry, back in behind the ruck. Couple of forwards and switched off for a second. This is what Warrington have done though. Even when Hull have poked the nose through, the ruck control from Warrington Wolves has been excellent this evening.
It is Sutcliffe stepping inside again, but well met by Roderick Ty, the Papua New Guinean. And now Jack Brown seeks a bit of liberty down the middle, but none found. Houghton, Pele, pounding forward again, still going. Good strong carry on that occasion. 1 play to go. So here comes Truman, who puts the little chip towards the corner. It's a difficult one for Martin to chase. It bounces out of play. Tap back on the 20.
Yeah, radar not yet adjusted from Truman. Just a little bit too much mustard on the kick. But it's a much more promising set, wasn't it? You know, Hull FC did find a couple of gaps there. Good run from Briscoe in behind the ruck. Good from Liam Sutcliffe in behind the ruck. Letting themselves down, though, by conceding a set restart here.
Warrington regrouping, heading towards the other end of the field, and it's Williams who tries to take them there briskly, but Pele came out and grabs him, and with the help of Houghton stops that endeavour. This is King, Toby King, just inside the Hull FC half. The drums stop beating for a moment. This is Curry who spins away and almost gives it away. Truman's trying to get there. Williams bats it back. This might be danger. Everybody's pulling and pushing each other. The referee says we'll go back to the first.
Yeah, I think it's a Hull FC knock-on, I think, in there as well. It's just an arm that's gone in there, a hand at the point of the pass. So it's Curry tries to get the ball away, and it's just that hand in there from Jordan Lane. Yeah, Musgrove doesn't take the pass. He recognises it immediately, doesn't he? Players are so aware these days, aren't they? It's just a fingertip from Jordan Lane. And another set of 6 that they will have to defend.
Here we go, boys, please.
So, head and feet here for Warrington. Great starting position. 40 metres to cover. Looking to find their point of attack here, and Dufty taking off, just had his shorts pulled, which slows him down, but barely slows him down, and it takes them 3 of them to wrap him up and put him down in the air. That was thrilling stuff from the Warrington fullback, and Warrington, as a result of that, find themselves in an excellent position. It comes along the line to Williams. Williams with a step, and Roderick Ty busts through, and this is a hat-trick. Hat-trick for Josh Dewlis. What a night he's having. And Warrington, well, just threatening to run away with this now.
Yeah, it's great work, isn't it? They have looked very, very efficient, very surgical, but it was all started by this man, Matt Duffy. I mean, he's averaging over 200 metres a game. He's up in the 180s at the moment following this run. He just refuses to be tackled. Such a well-balanced runner, real athlete. And as I said, he's added a whole heap of other skills to that arsenal, but it revolves around that running game. When the ball spread out quickly, nice little change in tempo from Sam Powell. Williams to tie, and the man over is Sulis, who cuts inside the despairing attempts of the Hull FC defence, and he grabs his hat-trick. Take another look at this. I like mid-play. Look what Sam Powell does. Just straightens it up, slows the defence down, makes them bite. That pulls everybody in a step or two and opens up enough of a gap in order for Ty to slip the ball to Thulis, and that's a tidy hat-trick.
Well, 22 points on the board at the moment, and 18 of those Thulis has scored. 3 tries and so far 3 goals, and a chance for a 4th here. Second hat-trick of the season as well for Josh Thulis. He scored one earlier this year against the London Broncos. So when they come quickly. It's taking him up to 11 tries for the season now. It's going to be a real chase for that top try scorer this year, isn't it?
No, we've got some brilliant finishers, some brilliant athletes in our league.
Tell you what, that's a high kick probability here, isn't it? The computer's got confidence, and it is well placed. Over it goes, 4 out of 4, 24 points to 0, and now it's simply a case of how many for the Wolves.
Great work from Thulis, draws it back in off the boot. Here's the hat-trick. This was the first on 10 minutes from the Duffy pass. It's a beautiful ball, wasn't it? Second again, claws back inside again, assisted by Duffy, and here's the hat-trick try we saw just a moment ago. 10 minutes, 42 minutes, 54 minutes. Hat-trick for Thulis, thank you very much.
3 tries and 2 different hairstyles on the same night. And Warrington in the driving seat, and now within sight of top spot. Another try without reply would see them climb to the very peak of the table.
Well, this is where LFC have got to puff the chest out a little bit, this could get ugly again. This has the potential to become a little bit unhinged for Hull FC. They talked, didn't they, down at pitchside about those 50-plus points concessions, 3 or 4 occasions this year when that's happened, and they'll certainly be expecting better than that now.
Coming forward with purpose again here, Warrington, but Williams, his ambitions are wrapped up by 3 in black and white. So Walker now takes over at dummy half. This is the last, so Drinkwater behind the 40, but just pumping it right down the middle. Walker with a catch.
Geez, he got hold of that. Walker had to adjust mid-flight, take another couple of steps back. I think he's been good, Jack Walker. He's had an awful lot of ground to cover. He's their top meter maker by some distance. But this is what Warrington done so well. Once they make contact, on guys like Walker and Lewis Martin, after the contact here, just the control, it's right on the edge. They're not giving away 6 against, but it's every single half a second they can get away with, and it is really affecting Hull FC's rhythm.
From Walker's initial surge, Hull have not gone very far forward since, have they? It's SASA who's just gathered in a couple of extra meters. Danny Houghton, but short of the halfway. They're going to have to kick from here. Jack Charles will take on that responsibility. Walker very nearly got to him, but it's a safe catch. And back comes Lindop, who looks as though he might have been taken a little high there. There was an arm reaching for him. I think it was Cam Scott's, but the referee's happy with that contact. And King takes it on again. Drinkwater going left, looking for his runners. Walker now collects. This carry is Musgrove, Zane Musgrove, the Samoan international. Gets a little ripple of applause from the Warrington fans by just taking his side a couple of strides further, despite the heaviness of the defence coming his way. Williams puts it back to Duffy. Duffy now dummies to Ty, but Truman's not buying that, and neither is Sutcliffe. And Duffy, well, is this the one that puts him off the field finally? Because he seems to have been battling all night Concern from the coach.
It may well be as well. I mean, he's made 100 metres more than any other Warrington player on the field. He's over 200 metres now. We said he was the top metre maker in Super League, top metre maker for the Warrington Wolves. You know, and lower limb injuries are not great for people who rely on speed and agility. And Burgess and company are reviewing the footage, and it's a sore one.
Yeah. Well, we've seen him a couple of times hobbling around and looking as though his night was over.
Yeah, it's just
ankle's trapped there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just got caught in between, isn't it?
Well, his night ain't over yet. Medical man departs. Dufty stays. But Warrington have got one last play here. Holler revved up because plenty of time to get ready for this, but Williams still manages to put it high. Walker, and does well, puts the foot in that in-goal area. Williams comes in with a tackle. Him and Briscoe are having a go here. Where's this coming from? Well, this is erupting now. Briscoe and Williams, and then everyone else gets involved, and that seemed to get angrier than it should have been.
Well, it was an unnecessary shot from George Williams. You know, Williams can see as well as anybody else that Jack Walker had effectively taken that ball dead by having his rear foot planted over the try line. So it's initial contact, but you know, Briscoe's probably overreacted to that. Yeah, there's no need for that in the first instance, but you know, Briscoe with a shove, and he's saying, "What are you doing that for?" And it did seem to escalate a little quickly, didn't it? A little judo throw from Tom Briscoe as well.
Yeah. Angry glares.
See how everybody does everything but throw a punch these days. You can't do it in this game anymore. So you see players do everything but.
You can't pull out of that going at full speed. It's a genuine contest for the ball. It's going to be a 20-metre restart. Now, what we don't do, we've had 60 minutes of the game with absolutely nothing. We've got players running in. Okay.
Can I ask, isn't it the same as if I kick pressure and it's a fraction
it's different, mate. No, it's different in that situation.
Well, I disagree with that. I don't think that is a genuine contest for the ball. I think that's a cynical act by George Williams. And that should have been a penalty to Hull FC. You could see what Walker's doing there, and that's not a contest for the ball. That's a daft call. That's a penalty to Hull FC all day long.
Well, it's not given. And here's the man who's caused a controversy at the start of the night. Not his fault, Adam Holroyd, but officially he wasn't in the 21, even though Warrington's socials had him in the 21. They hadn't put that down in the official paperwork to the RFL, so him coming on, or him being on the 17, has lost Warrington an interchange. Not that it's really mattered. Just a little talking point on a Friday night. Hull with 2 tackles to go. Houghton out of dummy half again. Sal puts it on to Charles, who offers it back on the inside again, and this now is Scott. Last play. Truman. Walker trying to get to him. Truman puts it high. Maybe the kick not as good as it should have been because of that pressure. It's batted on, it's kicked on by Danny Houghton. What sport are they playing there? There was a mix of basketball and football for a moment. Warrington get it back to rugby league. Untidy from Ty. Head and feet for Hull FC.
Incorrect. Fixed handover. Play the ball, lads.
Yeah, it's just loose, isn't it, for Roderick Ty? He was one of the players that I was really looking forward to seeing it. He's going to be another one for the dry tracks. We've signed a lot of players in Super League this season. Lockie Miller was talked about at half-time. Roderick Ty's another one. When these grounds firm up, I think you'll see the best of him.
In another game tonight, Adam Swift has scored. I'll tell you the details of that in just a second, because it's quite a record he's building for himself, Adam Swift. But he's scored again. It's almost inevitable that he will score. But I'll tell you in a second, because Hull FC have got a chance to attack here, a chance to wreak a little mayhem. SASA drives it in. Danny Houghton's down at dummy half. Sow's pawing the ground. It goes behind him to Truman, and Truman with a step but can't get past the oncoming defenders who come with real enthusiasm. Curry completes the job. Houghton, Sow, swaying the hips, stepping off the feet, not finding a way through. So last play, Houghton. His little kick, played out, but Warrington have it anyway. So it will be they who are back in possession.
Yeah, played out, but well cleaned up. And you take a look at the try scored in this period that we're just entering now. Last quarter of the game, Warrington sits second in the table. Hull FC, well, that's not an enviable statistic, isn't it? Rooted to the foot of the table.
So Warrington making his way out of their own end of the field. Adam Smith's try, by the way, means he's now third in the list of consecutive match try scorers in Super League, and there's no sign of him stopping at the moment.
Yeah, brilliant pick-up from for the Huddersfield Giants, isn't it? Now we're looking at a scoreline here of 24-0. And probably reflects the game. From Hull FC perspective, they're going to be very, very eager to avoid a third successive nil-in. Remember, round one, the Hull derby, we opened 2024 with 22-0. They lost. A couple of weeks ago against Helens, they were whitewashed, weren't they? 58-0. They'll be desperate to get on the scoreboard. It's those little wins that you can start to build some kind of confidence and belief around. They will certainly not want to go away from here with a duck egg.
Danny Houghton lost the headband, goes out at dummy half. Now it's Truman. Truman right up to the line. It's a ball over the top that very nearly gave Viewlis a chance for a fourth, rather than an encouragement for Lewis Martin to go the other way.
Well, they could actually end up with another set of 6 here, as the ball goes astray, but then Thewlis just knocks it on in an attempt to pick it up. I think he was already thinking about his try celebration, wasn't he? There was nobody in the backfield. Jack Walker was chasing back, but instead Hull FC are going to get another crack.
On the line, boys, please. Don't go early. 10 seconds. Heads in, Dan. Heads in, Paul. Wait for me.
Truman
off.
to feed. Houghton. Charles helps it on.
One. Move. Square now.
Interchange 4 of 7 for Warrington because, as we mentioned earlier, they've lost one. Hull FC looking for something to give them a little bit of a smile here.
Hold. Wait.
Houghton. Truman. This is SASA. Straightening things up, battling his way forward. Warrington hanging on, pulling him down. Houghton waits again, 4 to his left. Feigns that way, then comes back right. Truman back on the inside. Scott, oh, he's half through and he's got support there as well. Charles is just dragged down. Warrington's defence just about recovering well enough. Houghton goes out. It's with Truman. Truman pops it over the top, and it's going to be a try for Tom Briscoe. Referee's having a look. Yes, he has given it. And what a night for Tom Briscoe. His Hull FC first debut right here on this field. The 8th of February 2008. Didn't score that day, came on from the bench. But here he is on second debut, 16 years later, John. And he does get a try this time.
No, he's been the most durable and professional of players, hasn't he? But what about that for a pass from Truman? The vision. He saw Lindop creeping in. All the best halves can sum up a defensive situation in a split second. He's one of them. We said not to expect too much from him. It's an easy catch and put down, but the build-up play is brilliant. Takes it right into the line, feels the heat of the defenders on him, and then leashes the ball across the top to Briscoe. And that's the start, isn't it? Blimey.
Veteran, very much veteran.
But you're focused on the veteran. What about the 400 career games? I mean, that is, doesn't matter what position you play, 400 career games speaks to a degree of professionalism, durability, commitment that's very rarely seen in professional sport.
Jack Charles with a chance of the 2. And Tom Briscoe will be forever remembered for his Wembley performances. 4 tries, was it, in one Wembley final? 5 tries in one Wembley performance, and 8 in total he scored at Wembley down the years. Anyway, here comes Charles looking to add the 2. And he has, yes, got it, great kick from the touchline. 24 points to 6. Not exactly game on again. They'll need another couple of scores for that. But that has just given a lift to that Hull FC bench. Richie Myler, new football director.
100%. Sweet strike as well from the sideline from Jack Charles. Now, Briscoe's been industrious as well. He's had an awful lot of work to do out of backfield. Kick returns, ugly tackles, painful tackles early in the set. And he gets his first 4 points back in a Hull FC shirt. But again, just that little glimpse there of the quality of Jake Truman in the build-up.
London away next for Hull FC, Castleford away after that, and then Huddersfield away after that. This tonight is the first of 4 away games in May, and they're likely not to come up with anything from this, but those next 3 games give Hull FC a real opportunity to really start building their season from
But
there.
look, and it's why the last 12 minutes of this game's important as well. You know, it's why that score was important. It's how they apply themselves from here till the final whistles that's important.
Here's Houghton.
Wait.
30 metres out.
40. Gang, give 10.
Easy pick up for Dufty here. Just a bend of the back, wait for the ball to stop.
Play on.
Pick it up and back you come, but Hull FC ready and waiting. Warrington, by the way, I mean, we talk about big games. Hull KR at home next for them, one of the form teams. Then that semi-final against Huddersfield at St Helens for a chance to play at Wembley. Then a trip to Catalan, and then a home game against Wigan. I'd suggest after those 4 games, we'll know an awful lot more about Warrington this season.
Yeah, we'll have a very good idea of where they sit. You know, it's been a workmanlike performance, I would say, from the Warrington Wolves this evening. Nothing flash, done what's necessary. They haven't exactly got bums off seats, have they? But they're going to come away from this with 2 points.
Max Wood quickly gets up and plays it. The young prop. And Warrington going left, and here's Dufty. Dufty held up. But Warrington in decent position here, but they have run out of tackles. 1 play to go. Going to have to kick from here. Williams sticking it high. The chase is on. It's a wonderful take high in the air from the old fella again.
Competent take from Briscoe.
Oh, look at that. Huddersfield are not down and out just yet. Huddersfield 10, Salford 18. Was 18-0.
Yeah, don't forget the kick-off time on that one. That was a little earlier, though. That's
very close to a finish. And Leeds cruising there, 40 points to 8.
And we hear Huddersfield doing that with 12 men as well.
Yeah, Wallace sent off, we're being told. Here's Truman. Drifting back on the inside. Into the last 10 minutes. Danny Houghton kicking on a bit of a slip. Lindop plenty of time to regather his feet and regather his mind. But then Hull defenders regather him and put him down short of the halfway. King. Little search back towards the outside and an offload as well, which keeps Warrington interested here. Lindop for the 2nd time involved and dragged and grabbed and put down. Ed Chamberlain had come tracking on the inside for that. Here's Vaughan. Sam Powell is in the dummy half roll on that occasion. This now is Williams right up to the line, but untidy. Tied as well there in difficult circumstances. Not quite connecting as they would want to do. Taken on by Matty Nicholson. Powell in there. Williams, plenty of time to think about this. Slow play the ball. Warrington defenders will come out as quickly as they can. They're going to go through hand, and Drinkwater throws it left, and here's King, and Lindop's getting excited on that outside, but steady those nerves because the kick was nowhere near, and Walker can bring it free.
Yeah, the positioning was good from Jack Walker. You got 2 really good fullbacks on display here this evening. I've been really enjoying watching the 2. I think Walker's had an awful lot to do defensively. Dufty has been brilliant across the field. He's approaching 250 metres, if you can believe that, running.
Houghton. Sutcliffe. Danny Houghton up there again. SA crashing in, but Vaughan.
And that's what they've done well, isn't it? Just another example there. You know, restricted to 30 metres, and it's what they do after contact. Warrington Wolves has been so good for them. just that willingness to work in the tackle, that little bit of wrestle for the permitted amount of time. That's a good return, but an error off the back of it.
Lindop, well, he's punching the ground. I tell you what, if the elastic in his shorts had given way there, he was free, but they just grabbed him back by the shorts.
Yeah, his punches through the tackle of Charles and through Cameron Scott.
Shot clock on.
Yeah, and he's annoyed with himself as well, isn't he?
Wow, what about this? Minute and a half to go. Jake Bibby with a try has brought it back to within 2.
Let's get it. Heads down, 10 seconds, boys. Look in, tight please there, Josh. Heads in, Josh.
Huge game for both those teams.
Out!
Both with expectations of a top 6 this season.
One. Move now!
Only one of these two teams with an expectation of a top 6 at this moment in time. And it is the team with the greater optimism who have the lead and looking to finish this one positively, but Hull FC with a chance to build again. SASA with a plunder. Still going, still going, still going, still going. Eventually they stop him. Truman spinning out to Charles. Charles, out it goes. Walker's involved out there. Tries to dummy his way through. Just upended. Opportunity still knocking here. Charles on that left foot. Got on the inside of one, but not the other. And they're on the last. They're on the last from 5 away. Truman puts the kick to that in-goal area, looking for the angle, but too much depth on that. And Warrington come away with an attacking opportunity to build here from their own 20-metre mark.
Yeah, just looked to try and put a bit of a banana on that kick, make it sit up in goal. Didn't quite get hold of it, overcooked it again. 7 tackle set conceded. That's a good carry, strong carry, Philbin. Really strong carry.
Move! Moving back. Hold.
Now it's Vaughan. He's got a decent carry in him, hasn't he? But not on that occasion. Legs taken by Jordan Lane. Drinkwater to Williams, and Williams out, and Thewlis has suddenly popped up in the left centre's position. Almost through, almost getting it away. But 2 almosts don't equal a try. Instead, Warrington have to start again here. Drinkwater. 2 to go. 2 plays to go. Picked up by Powell. Now it's Vaughan. Vaughan looking around. Here comes the last. Hull desperate to hang on. Williams with the kick. And Sutcliffe this time will take that rather easily. From a George Williams point of view, that was a disappointing finish.
Yeah, well tidied up, though, from Sutcliffe. There's been a couple of changes in the last set for the Warrington Wolves. I think Matt Duffy's left the field. Thewlis has moved to full-back.
So full-time Salford hanging on for that win, and Leeds not full-time there, but it is going to be a win. 46 points to 8.
Back now, Paul. Paul. 3.
Walker back at dummy half.
4.
Here's Brown.
Move. 4. Play on. Speed.
Charles.
5. Move.
Swish of the hips.
Play on.
Can't get through. Drinkwater made the telling challenge, but they've got a bit of go forward here, and they're going to have a go for it. Briscoe. Well, that was a poor kick. I think there was almost an embarrassment from the Hull winger, because he probably suspected, as most of the rest of the ground did, that was a forward pass that went his way. But
Paul Herman.
It is Warrington who pick up the pieces.
Release. Goal 2.
Williams.
Third.
Nicholson.
Move, Jake. Hold.
Tight. Push again from Max Wood. Made his debut for Warrington in that round 2 game against Hull. And he's got huge potential as well, that young forward.
5. Move now. Straight out.
Back to the last. Powell waits, and it has to be patiently to deliver it out to Williams. And again, they're trying to run away through here. Still 5. No touch. King slips. Williams, they're trying to make something up here out of very little, and Williams with his speed, the kick through, but now it's going the other way. Walker picks it up, but there's enough back for Warrington to close that down, but he's bouncing it around. It's a decent endeavour from Hull FC in response to what came their way initially.
That's a lovely passage of play. George Williams with a lovely little fake, goes down the short side, And then a brilliant reactionary take from Jack Walker, who's not just content with making yards, but gets the offload. And LFC cross the halfway line midway through the tackle count. Offload again, here we go. Last 3 minutes of the game, they're going to throw this around.
Well, we're going to have lots of analysis from Brian and Jody and John at the end of this. We'll be getting the telling interviews as well when the full-time hooter sounds. But John, I'll just introduce the topic. I'm no doubt they'll be talking about, has this been good enough from Warrington tonight?
I think I called it a workman-like performance. I don't think it was anything special. I think what they've done, what they needed to do, they were on a hiding to nothing. I thought they needed to respond after yesterday. Come back to that.
Here's Martin. Well, there's a gap there, but Ty flings himself at his shins and does enough to close things down. Truman kicking, hoping. Arms go up, ball comes down. Who got the touch? Knock on Warrington, I think.
First one. Hand over the 10.
Oh, no. No, knock on Hall.
First one, mate,
Yeah, to answer your question, I think Warrington were on a hiding to nothing. They'd come off a poor performance and a loss. So first things first is right the ship. Sam Burgess has been saying, look, win first and foremost. Let's banish those demons from Salford last week. The performance has been workaday. It's been workmanlike.
Well, we didn't hear from Sam before the game. Chances are we will be hearing from him after full time. Unless he's still stewing about that lost interchange. Sure, he's put that out of his mind now. And here's Vaughan. Spin and turn.
2. Move, come on, Jake.
Last 40-odd seconds, chance for Warrington to finish the game with ball in hand.
3. Move.
3 plays to go.
Another great carry from Philbin. Sorry, Dave, was just really been impressed with him.
Williams to Thewlis, Thewlis onto Curry, Curry now flicks it back to Thewlis. There's a bit of a space ahead of him, but that's closed down quickly because Martin gets into him, but the offload's there again. It's galloped on this time by Matty Nicholson. Nicholson put down. 15 to go. Clock counts down. We're getting close to the last play of the game. This might be it. Warrington maybe chance their arm. Vaughan pops it up. Put back by Williams. Ball goes to ground. Still they keep it alive. Not now. Thewlis has knocked on. And that will be the end of the game. A disappointing last few moments. But Sam Burgess will be very pleased with what he's seen from his charges tonight in terms of another 2 points on the board. They go level with that cluster of clubs at the top of the table. Not quite clear on points difference, but good enough tonight, and certainly good enough to beat Simon Grix's Hull FC. It's finished here. Warrington 24, Hull FC 6.
Dave, John, thank you very much. Sam Burgess in conversation with defence coach Richard Marshall and the man masterminding their attack, Martin Gleeson, in the middle of that trio, who will debrief their side shortly. Their side that has delivered a performance that was just good enough.
Well, there's a saying in golf, isn't it? There's no pictures on a scorecard. Well, there's no pictures at the end of the year on this result. It's 2 points. I don't think Sam will look too much more into it than that. I think Warrington haven't been performing particularly well, but it was important for them to just get the win. There was an inevitability about them getting that win. But when we get to playoff time, it's just 2 points in the bag.
We don't want to sound like we're overly critical or harsh, and a special night for Josh Thewlis and Warrington, as John says, have won, but they are being framed up as title contenders. And one would suggest maybe a performance and a scoreline like that against a side sitting second from bottom with just a solitary win all year isn't maybe evidence of title contending.
Look, they are being judged against what it's going to take to lift a grand final, lift the trophy in the grand final, and that's what this club needs. That's what they're striving for. That's what Sam Burgess will want out of them. Is tonight's performance good enough to win a grand final? Probably not. And that's what they're going to compare themselves against.
Yeah, it's not good enough, but it does need to be good enough now. A couple of bits of mitigation in Warrington's defence, the weather, you know, and also it's tricky to play against a side like Hull who are in such desperate times. In some ways, that's a tricky proposition to play against a team like that. Warrington could have dispatched them.
Good news for that man, Jake Truman. It's great to see him back on the field. Last on the field